Welcome back everybody to Forza Horizon 6, and today we're taking a look at the 2024 Toyota Prius Prime XSE Premium. So this is part of the third generation of the Prius plug-in hybrid, which, unbeknownst to me before actually researching for this car, is its own separate model from the standard Prius, which is not a plug-in hybrid. And this is based on the fifth generation of that standard Prius. So this has been in production since March 2023. And this XSE Premium is the top of the sport orientated trim levels that are available. So yeah, they've definitely tried to make this more of a sporty vehicle than the prior generations, which typically didn't have much in the way of performance at all. So yeah, and that's nice to see. It's also nice to see that they've also changed the looks in a radical amount of way. Yeah, it's still got the same kind of blobby side profile to it, but on the whole, the front and the rear do look a lot better than they did in the previous generations. And yeah, overall it is still a practical car as well. You've got a really rather sizable amount of boot space on the go here, and being a lift back makes it easier to get things in and out as well. So yeah, that's nice to see. And then you've got plenty of rear legroom as well for the passengers. And yeah, a decent interior at the front, even though for my liking it's a little bit too busy. There's a hell of a lot of buttons going on the steering wheel and elsewhere. Yes, I prefer buttons for your aircon and such stuff that you're going to use more regularly. But there's a lot here that could be put in a better, more visually appealing way, to be honest. So yeah, a little bit too busy for me, but still overall a good looking enough interior, and I'm sure it's all very nice and usable. So yeah, like I said, this is a plug-in hybrid, so that means it's got an electric power plant and a combustion engine. So we've got a 2-litre inline 4 alongside a 13.6 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack that powers an electric motor. And all in all, that produces 220 horsepower and 206 pounds-feet of torque. Now that is all run through the front wheels, although I do believe an all-wheel drive version of this is available. And yeah, that power is put through a planetary gear ECVT. So that is used to control the contribution of power from the electric motor and the internal combustion engine. And these differ from the standard CVTs in that they are powered by an electric motor in addition to the engine, with this one using planetary gears to combine their outputs instead of a belt using traditional CVTs. So I do believe one gear is saved for the electric motor and another gear is used for the engine itself, although it doesn't actually change gears. It holds it at a certain a certain amount of revs, and that's how it, and then it just gains power through the way that a CVT normally works. So yeah, all in all, it's not a kind of gearbox that I like at all. I just don't see the point in it. It also at the times does sound really annoying because it's constantly holding it at a certain revs instead of changing through gears, or preferably if you're going to have an engine that is more toward using electric, then just make it all electric, and therefore you don't have to deal with any annoying engine noise at all that is using a CVT kind of way. So yeah, it's not a kind of gearbox that I'm a fan of, but it is actually the first CVT that is used on this game, and we've not had a CVT, I don't believe, using since perhaps Forza Motorsport 4 days, because this car was actually on that game. There were also a couple of other hybrids on there as well. So yeah, but overall a decent looking car. The only issue I have with this car is the side panel that it's got going on here. So I can understand that it's probably for aerodynamics, but if you look at it dead on, side on, it does look like it's just been crashed into. But on the whole, a handsome enough looking car. Now you can change the front bumper and rear spoiler ever so slightly with the Toyota Racing Development parts. So as you can see, that just slightly changes it. And then you can also do that with the spoiler as well. So it's not a radical difference, but it's interesting that they're able to actually offer that at all. I didn't think TRD would ever have done anything for a Prius, but yeah, not a massive change there in terms of the rear spoiler. But as you can see, it does affect the braking substantially as far as this game's concerned, but it also does reduce the top speed as well. So be wary of that if you are upgrading this car. So yeah, but nonetheless, let's get out onto the Hakubu circuit and see just what this car can do. Right, so here we are at the Hakubu circuit, and as per usual, we'll hear what the car sounds like, then we'll talk about it some more. So yeah, as you can see, the CVT gearbox there is, yeah, it's just not working for me at all. It's hitting 6,000 RPM, and all it's really doing is producing a wearisome drone. Now granted, it doesn't sound as bad as I feared it might well do, given this is obviously a more performance-orientated version of the Prius, but at the end of the day, it's not an involving gearbox whatsoever. At least with an all-electric car, at least it is gaining revs, and then it hits its limit, whereas this just gets to a certain amount and then just stops completely, and that is really not performance orientated as far as I'm concerned at all. And I really can't see the efficiency idea with this at all either, to be honest, because how can it be efficient at all to run an engine at pretty much max revs constantly, rather than changing gear, reducing your revs and reducing the noise at the same time as also making it more economically friendly. I just don't know how that works at all. Maybe it's different when it comes to running it in real life, but in this game, yeah, it just makes no real sense at all. But that said, because it is a sportier version of the Prius, it's not a slouch by any stretch of the imagination. 0 to 60 in 6.531 seconds, 0 to 100 in 17.035 seconds, and it will go to a top speed of 158 miles an hour. But because it weighs quite a lot, having, you know, basically 2 power plants on the board, it weighs 3,571 pounds, and being front wheel drive, yeah, it really does feel its weight at times. It has quite a lot of understeer. The brakes certainly aren't the best either, and I feel like that's probably down to the fact it's probably got quite low friction tyres on the go. So yeah, it's not going to throw you into a bush or anything like that, but neither is it particularly exciting. The acceleration is all that this really has going for it, and even then that's only really to 0 to 60. So yeah, it's probably a good drive, a good car to drive on a day-to-day basis, but for driving normally or in a spirited manner or racing or anything like that, then yeah, you're definitely going to have to look at upgrading it as far as this game goes. But yeah, it's a decent enough effort. It's probably the best version of the Prius that we're ever going to get, quite frankly, in terms of this kind of hybrid power plant that they're going for. But me personally, I prefer them just go all electric, and yeah, just sack off the idea of a hybrid in general, because yeah, there's no real benefits to it at all. I find, you know, all you're dealing with is a lot more weight, a lot more complexity, more maintenance, and yeah, just general not. It's basically the worst parts of both worlds rather than the best of both worlds, I feel. And yeah, with it being all electric, you'd have more torque, you'd have a quieter, you know, vehicle in general. It wouldn't have that wearisome drone, and yeah, you'd also potentially have a car that is no heavier either, because it's not got a big, not got an engine in the front either. And you know, you can tell that they're not really all that liking the fact that this has a combustion engine, because they hide the exhaust completely beneath the rear bumper there. You have to go right down to the ground to see it. So yeah, so that embarrassed about the fact that this has a combustion engine, and then just throw it out entirely and go all electric as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, but it is nice to have the Prius on here. It is, at the end of the day, one of the biggest names that Japan have exported to the rest of the world, and I did actually ask for a Prius to be on this game, considering how big of a name it actually is. It's, you know, if you think Japanese cars, Prius is going to be in the top 10 as far as most people are concerned. So I did ask for this, although I'm not going to take credit for it, because obviously with this being a car via the car pass, it's going to have been locked in well before this game was even released. But yeah, I did ask for it, so you can blame me if you want, but it is, at the end of the day, a car that deserves to be in this game, being given the setting that we're in. Nonetheless, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.